A formal evening to all. Agenda for today's event. Welcome address, introduction to the chief guest, presentations by the resource person, vote of thanks. Good evening to one and all present for today's event, Lean Startup and Minimum Viable Product or Business, boot camp organized by the institution's Innovation Council and Department of Science and Humanities. Try, and try again until you succeed. Startup business has so much flourished in India at the moment. It has become indispensable with the business world. Hence, I am certain that the event today will enlighten us with the various activities related to the business. I am delighted to present the welcome address. First of all, I welcome Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan, founder and CEO, Digital Infinix and Feta Academy, for having accepted our invitation and sparing an hour for us. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of the department and IIC. Welcome, sir. Next, I extend the warm welcome to the HOD of Science and Humanities and the IIC coordinator, Mr. Leo Amalraj, for having organized in this grand manner. I also welcome all the faculty members and the students present here and wish them to have a wonderful time. Welcome all. Now I invite Srimati to introduce the chief guest.
A pleasant evening to everyone present here. I am privileged to introduce Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan, who is a parallel entrepreneur, educationalist, investor, and a passionate digital strategist. He holds an engineering degree in computer science and is awarded an honorary doctorate for his service in education and empowering youth. Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan is on a mission to educate and build 1 million dream careers. He deeply believes in transforming lives through education and entrepreneurship. Through his EdTech company, Feta Academy, he has positively impacted 30,000 plus students in the past 10 years. Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan is an active member of the Green Velachery initiative that has planted more than 7,000 saplings in Velachery and its neighborhood. He is a Rotarian and a member of ASN Entrepreneurship Group in Chennai. He is a key contributor for student and youth for Tiruvallur, a national-wide organization with 2 lakh membership. Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan's guest lectures have been most sought by top educational institutions like IIT Madras, VIT, and Bardiyar University. This video requesting the state and central governments to help small businesses and offer a moratorium for them during COVID pandemic in 2020 has gained more than 1 million views in digital media. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan's EdTech company, Feta Academy, has 8 branches in Bangalore, Chennai, Coimbatore, and Madurai, delivering classroom training and offering instructor-led online training across India. More than 60 dedicated Feta Academy employees and team of 1,200 plus industry experts work tirelessly towards achieving its vision of building 1 million dream careers. They have collaborated with 1,500 plus companies in hiring the students who are skilled in Feta company. With the current pace, this mission of transforming 1 million Indian youth's lives is no more a distant dream. We wish all the best to your mission and would like to be motivated by your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Srinidhi, for introducing the chief guest. Now I kindly invite Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan to present his presentation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, all. It's such a pleasure to talk to all of you. It's an evening, especially a Saturday evening. So it's a very difficult time, especially for students. You are having your internals as well. So sitting in a session is going to be usually difficult. So to make it more interesting, we will play a small game at the end of the session. So I'm going to talk about more of my experiences with entrepreneurship and my journey with respect to some of the failures and some of the success. So at the end of the session, maybe I will be speaking for another 30 minutes or 40 minutes. By the end of this presentation, I will have a small game, very small game, So it's going to be very simple. It's not a very complex game or anything. It's a very small game just to keep the entire session interesting. So you're going to come to my Instagram profile and you're going to just type the key learnings from this session in my Instagram. I have posted, I'll give you a detailed instruction at the end of this session, but the game is simple. You're basically going to be very attentive in this session for the next 20-30 minutes or 40 minutes. Whatever your learnings are, you're just going to come to my Instagram profile and you're going to just comment that, right? So what is in it for you? Why should you do it? So two things. One is you're going to remember whatever you're going to learn today, and the best answers. I'm going to choose 10 best answers, and you will get a gift coupon of 100 rupees each. For some of you, 100 rupees may not be a big thing, but still you can have a coffee or something. So this is the deal. So I hope everybody is okay with it. I'm not sure if you can respond to it to keep it interesting. Can you, whoever is in for the game, can you just in chat section, can you say yes? I would like to see some energy. Okay. I'm seeing only one yes. So others don't want to learn and they don't need a free money. Or you don't have access. I'm not sure if you have access to respond in chat. Okay. Keep it coming. Awesome. All right. So I see some responses. That's a good start. We will start. So what is entrepreneurship? So basically, some of you might be coming from an entrepreneurship background, meaning your parents could be an entrepreneur. And many of you probably come from a background where your parents work in a different company. These are the two possibilities, right? Or they could be self-employed, maybe a farmer or something. But an entrepreneur is somebody who gives jobs to a lot of people, right? Very simple business. A person who is running let's say a small vegetable shop, he is also an entrepreneur. He is giving employment to 2-3 people in his vegetable shop. At the same time, a person who is running companies like Google or Reliance, the Ambanis, the Adanis, they are also entrepreneurs. The only difference is the kind of impact that they make. So probably Ambani or Adani, they make a bigger impact with providing job opportunities to lakhs of people. On the other hand, a small vegetable seller probably gives job opportunities to few people, maybe less than 10 numbers, right? So this is typically what an entrepreneur is. So what is a startup then? A startup is nothing but a business in its early stage, right? So far, people are clear with me because it's more of one-way talk. I just wanted to take a moment in ensuring that everybody is able to hear me properly. You are able to follow.
Students, you can respond in the chat box, ma.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, okay, perfect. So good to see a lot of feedback so that, as a speaker, when there is a response, it makes it easier for me to connect with you guys. So basically, I've told you what entrepreneur is. In fact, a lot of people, I have seen a lot of, very big entrepreneurs, they pronounce it as entrepreneurs. So it is pronounced as entrepreneurs. So I have told you what an entrepreneur is, right? And what a startup is. Startup is basically a business in its early stage, right? So I'll ask you a very simple question. Is Zomato, I'm sure most of you know Zomato, right? Or Swiggy. Is it a startup or is it a big business? You can type in comment. If it is big business, you can type big business, or if it is a startup, you can say startup. Okay. So I see multiple answers, right? Some people are saying startup and some people are calling it as big business, right? So what makes something a big business and what makes something a startup? Uh, when it is publicly listed in a stock market, it becomes a big business, right? They have a very big revenue, meaning they make a lot of money, income is very high. They employ a lot of people. So then they move away from the startup stage to their bigger business mode. So if you ask me whether a company like Zomato is currently a startup or a big business, I would say they are a very big business because their revenue is in many thousand crores. Their expenses also in many thousand crores. They employ thousands of people. So obviously they are not a startup anymore. So startup is only for a particular period of time until your business grows. You can call a company a startup. So then what is lean startup, right? The topic itself is lean startup, right? It is nothing but running your company, running your startup in a very cost effective way, right? Some businesses, if you take, especially if you take, I don't know if there are any people from manufacturing background. If you take any manufacturing company, let's say a textile company that is manufacturing shirts, let's say a textile company that is manufacturing t-shirts or any form of shirts, right? So they are not a lean model company. They are not a lean startup or lean business. The reason is they have a lot of people, they employ a lot of machinery. So their model, the business itself is not, it cannot be lean. On the other hand, if you take some tech companies like Google or Facebook, they are pretty much lean companies. I'm not saying lean startups because they are no more startups. Google or Facebook has become huge companies now. But these companies still operate in a lean fashion, in a lean manner. So when I say lean manner, they have very few people compared to other businesses. They also, so if you ask whether Fita Academy is the company which I run is a lean model or it's a very complicated model, I would say our business, the Fita Academy business, is a lean model. Even though we have more than 1,000 trainers, our trainers are all part-time trainers. So I don't have a burden of paying them money every month, right? So then this model, overall model, becomes a lean model. So you can call this a lean startup. So this is what a lean startup is. So far clear? So far what we have learned is who is an entrepreneur, what is a startup, what is a lean startup. These are what we have learned so far. So next, I'm going to share you the slide which I have. So before even getting into this whole discussion, I want to know how many of you really want to become an entrepreneur, really want to run your own company. Maybe you got inspired by your parents or your friend, maybe your relatives, or you got inspired by somebody like Elon Musk or somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, right? So, or maybe you just want to work in a very good company. So both are fine. I mean, some people want to work in companies, some people want to create companies, whatever it is. How many of you want to be an entrepreneur? How many of you want to run your own business? So if you want to run your own business, just type yes in the chat. I would like to see how many of you are looking to become an entrepreneur. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of yes. So that's very good. But I have been teaching digital marketing for a very long time, and I also teach entrepreneurship to a lot of students. So my simple question I always ask them is, this is something that I got inspired by somebody called Simon Sinek. He's one of the great thought leaders. He has written a book called, Start with Why. You should know why you are doing something, right? So for example, when one of your professor approached me to speak on this particular topic, so I always ask this, should I do it? Why should I do it? Right? Not to your ma'am, of course, within myself, I want to be clear why I should do something, right? So similarly, when I throw this question on why you want to become an entrepreneur to a lot of students, usually they say, I get different answers, but some people say entrepreneurship is cool. Running a business is cool, right? Uh, and especially in the last few years, thanks to our media, they have made it look like running a business is so easy, uh, especially with all the funding that these big companies like Byju's, uh, Swiggy, Ola, Uber, whatever, all these companies, the kind of money they are raising from the investors, they make it sound as if running a business is so cool and it is so easy. But let me tell you something. I've been running my business for the last 10 years. In my digital marketing company, Infinix, we have been working with at least close to 500 plus different businesses. So I directly interact with a lot of business owners. So I know what it is to run a company. So if you think that it is going to be easy, it is going to be cool, definitely not. Running a startup is not easy. So sorry to break your bubble. If you think that it's easy, it's not easy. Second thing, I also hear from people that they say you can make a lot of money with startups. You can make a lot of money when you run your company, which is partly true. I mean, but the fact is the chances of making money is higher if you work in a high paid job than running your own company, because the chances of failure of a startup is higher. More than, I would say, 90% of the company startups fail and only 10% or so survive and they become a big company. And becoming big company, probably 2-3% of that overall percentage, only they become a big company. Remaining 7-8%, they just run into a medium, they run a medium sized company. These are the actual, this is the actual data. So if you think you're going to make very high money and that is the motivation behind uh, running your own company or founding a startup, then that is not completely true. So there are also other reasons, weird reasons. Some people are under this peer pressure, right? Just like how a lot of people get into engineering without even knowing why they want to do engineering, because our parents force us into getting into engineering. A lot of people nowadays, they started getting this peer pressure of their friends or their some of their colleagues who worked with them before they get into businesses and they are successful. So that pressure makes them to get into startups and form their own companies. These kind of reasons are there. These are the common reasons that I hear. Let me try to share my screen. So I was just talking about, I hope everybody is able to see my screen, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So some people, especially people who work in companies, they say, I hate my job, so I want to become an entrepreneur, right? So these cannot be your reason why you want to become an entrepreneur, right? So what should be the reason to become an entrepreneur? Let's say you have an idea and you truly believe in that idea, right? And then you can start work on that idea and build that idea. So if you take any successful founders of companies, like you take Mark Zuckerberg, or you take the legends like Steve Jobs, they all believed in their idea, they worked on that idea. So that is the reason why they became so big, right? It's not because they wanted to make money they founded a company. They believed in idea. Money is a byproduct of whatever good work that you do. You do a good work, definitely you will be rewarded. And it cannot be the otherwise. I mean, your primary goal is money, so you work towards making more money. Because of that, your product became big. That has never happened, right? So you should be doing or working on creating your own company or a startup only if you truly believe in an idea. Or it could also be a case that you are good at something, right? You could be probably good at this point of time, especially, you most of you are, in fact all of you are very young. You have just finished your 12th and recently joined college. So at this point of time, you may not even realize what you're good at, right? But with age, as time passes by, you will understand what you are good at and what you are bad at. For example, if you take me, I would say I connect well with people. That is my strength. That is my biggest strength. And I to an extent, I can reasonably talk well. I'm good at, let's say, digital marketing. I'm good at sales. I'm good at basic accounts. I'm good at basic programming. So these are the skills. This did not happen in a short span. This didn't happen during my college, right? Because those days, when we were in college, we didn't have this kind of an exposure. We never had somebody from the industry coming to our college and talking about entrepreneurship or anything, or even digital marketing, whatever topics. So we acquired the skills that we have right now over the period of time, right? So similarly, over the period of time, you will also have some skills. So if you think these skills will help you in creating your company, then you should work on creating your company. And sometimes maybe 2-3 friends will be there, and some are good at certain things and some are good at certain other things. So it makes sense to join together as a team and create a company. That makes sense, right? And especially when you are young, when you are in your 20s, you can afford to make a lot of mistakes, right? When you are in 30s or 40s, you make a mistake, uh, the kind of impact that will have uh, will be huge. On the other hand, the mistakes that you make when you are in your 20s, it is never a mistake, it is a learning. Every mistake that you make is actually a learning. So that's the time that you can experiment and you can afford to take risk, right? So these are some of the reasons why you should be doing or running your own company. So typically this is how I hope you can see the image which I'm showing you now. Just before the presentation, I saw this image in Instagram, and I thought this is very much relevant to entrepreneurship. Normally, this is what you plan and this is what you intend to do. But in reality, this is how it will be. You will be, going through a lot of uh, different things which you have never planned, right? So basically, entrepreneurship is definitely not for everybody. A lot of people, I have my own share of failures and successes as well, right? But failures are basically the learnings that help you in creating something bigger and more solid. So you shouldn't be, I'm not trying to demotivate anybody here. I'm talking you about the reality. You shouldn't assume that, things are going to be easy and then, think that I can start my company and somebody will come and invest many crores and then I will become rich. That's not the reality. The reality will be very difficult. You have to work hard, but eventually, when your startup succeeds, right, then you will make hell lot of money, which probably a person who's working even in a big company may not be making that kind of a money. But money shouldn't be your motivation. Money is a byproduct of whatever good work that you do, right? So basically, the whole thing about startups and educating you on the entire startup ecosystem and step-by-step process, it takes a lot of time. So considering that we have limitation in time, I'm going to stick with some of the basics of various steps or the stages in startups and few lines of definition or how it has to be handled, so that when we finish this session in another probably 15 minutes or so, you will have an overall idea of what is a startup, how I should approach a startup. These ideas or these basic things, you will have an idea. Okay. So according to me, I think there are about 10 stages of creating a startup. Okay. So far, everybody is with me. Any questions? You can, you don't have to wait till the end. If you have any questions before getting into this particular topic, you can shoot your questions in chat section. You can we can proceed. Okay, I'm assuming that you do not have any questions, so I'll proceed. So 10 stages of creating a startup. So step one is ideation. So basically, everybody gets a lot of ideas, right? It's you cannot, I mean, I get plenty of ideas every day, but you cannot work on every idea. Right? Some ideas could be good, some ideas, maybe some ideas. How do we generate ideas? That is very important, right? So I'll talk about that. So first step is ideation, coming up with an idea. Second is validating that idea. So you have an idea, you want to form a company. So you have to validate whether it will work out or not. I will tell you a high level process of how to validate your idea. Third is creating a business plan, right? I'll tell you what is a business plan, how you have to create how part is really very hard considering that we have time constraint, and how to create a team, because without proper team you cannot achieve anything. End of day, it is people, right? So how do you build a good team, and then how to raise money or how to fund your company so that you can pay all your bills, and how to create MVP, creating the MVP, which is basically minimum viable product, so that you can test the product in the market and see whether that works out or not. And then after you have a MVP, how do you take it to the market? How do you acquire customers? And once you have initial set of customers, how do you keep improving your product? These are the various stages. And finally, how do you scale your product, right? Once you create a model, then obviously your goal will be to scale up your product. How do you do all these things? So these are the different stages. I'm sure we may not be able to cover everything in detail, but this would require at least 2-3 days to cover all these topics in detail. But at a high level, I will give you an overview. So remember these 10 points. I'll repeat it. Step 1 is ideation. Step 2 is, once you have an idea, whether your idea is stupid and dumb or whether your idea is great, you have to discuss with people. You have to do some analysis. So how do you validate that idea? Then you create a business plan. Your business plan will typically have everything about your business, like what is the vision, who's your target audience, all these kind of information. And then you identify your co-founder and all these kind of partners for your team. And then without money, you cannot take it forward. End of the day, you have to pay bills. So how do you manage the funding? And then how do you create a product which is basically not a complete product, but just the minimum viable product? And then how do you take it to the market, which is step 7. And step 8 is acquiring customers. End of day, your customers are going to pay you, right? So without customers, obviously you cannot make money. And then how do you improve the product based on the feedback from your customers? And then you scale the product. When I say scale the product, how do you grow from, let's say, 100 crore revenue to 1000 crore or even 10,000 crore? How do you scale? So all these are the major stages of a startup. So ideation. So how do you come up with an idea? Any thoughts? Okay. So there is a question. I'll take this question because this is a very interesting question. Whatever answer I'm going to see, there is no, it's not like max 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4, right? It's not like that. I'm only going to share the answer based on my experiences, the experiences. I mean, I have overall 17 years of experience. I worked for almost a decade in IT company in the US, and then the last 10 years I parallelly started my company when I was working. So last 10 years I've been running my companies. I'm a parallel entrepreneur, meaning I run multiple companies and I have made huge investments in multiple companies as well. So based on these experiences, I always feel that it is a good idea to work in a company, gain some exposure, and then start your company. The reason is when you work in a company, you get a lot of connects. You understand how a company operates. You understand the process. You understand technology. So that gives you a lot of, and financially also you can save some money before you start your company. So maybe for 2 3 years you can work in a company, gain some exposure. Parallelly, you can do some groundwork on your startup. Some smart students, smart kids, I've seen them working in a company, but parallelly, having a side hustle. They try something, they fail, right? Then they try something else. They keep trying until they succeed. So the moment they see a traction, then they come out of their job. In fact, I have done the same thing. So when I was working in I was working in an IT company called Cognizant. So I was working there. I did not have any big financial backup or anything. So I couldn't quit my job because of my other financial commitments. So I was working in a full-time job and parallelly I was trying out certain things. The moment I saw some traction, the moment I saw that this business will work out, then that is when I quit my job and fully focused on my business. Okay, I hope that answers. Somebody has posted that question in chat. I hope that answers your question. I will switch back to the ideation part. So how do you arrive at the ideas, right? If you take any great idea, be it iPhone or Android phone. Basically, a smartphone is something that we all use on a day-to-day basis. And the Android phone is basically inspired by iPhone. iPhone is they were the inventors of the first smartphone, right? So basically, if you take any great product or any great business, it has definitely originated either from the thought that they want to give a better experience to the end user, or they want to solve a problem. It will definitely, any successful product or a successful idea or a successful business will definitely fit into one of these two things, which is giving a better experience or making sure that it solves a problem. If I tell you an example, you will be able to understand this. So for example, until few years back, before we had Swiggy, right? We have to, if let's say you are hungry, the only option that you have is to go to a hotel, travel till you go to a restaurant and then eat there, right? Now we have Swiggy. Imagine, see, for youngsters like you, it may not be a big deal, right? But it may probably even make you lazy, right? But for somebody who is, let's say, handicapped, somebody who is old, somebody who is unable to, travel out and go and buy food, or even let's take Big Basket or Swiggy, Genie, where they deliver the groceries at your home, right? So it addressed a problem of traveling and buying something. They eliminated that, whereas somebody has come to your place, they come and deliver, which makes your life simple. So if you think of all the great products, right? Maybe if you could think of, let's say, Google. Before Google also there were search engines, but why Google became so successful is they are the best when it comes to search. If you want to search something, you would only go to Google. You will not go to Bing or something else, right? So they address the problem of giving the best search results to the end user when somebody searches. So you have to, when you think of an idea, you have to see, you might probably, uh, get annoyed by certain things. Then think of how you can arrive at a product or a business around the problem that you have, right? In India, these are the subjects we hesitate to talk, but there are certain things like, clean water. Clean water is something that not everybody gets access to clean water, right? Not everybody gets access to clean air in India. So these kind of things you can work on idea, and you can improve that idea. Even clean food, when I say clean food, food that is free from pesticides, fertilizers, organic food, right? That has got a huge market. So you could think of something around these lines, right? So how do you know what companies are doing, what kind of companies are in the market, right? So you can go to a website called TechCrunch. I have given the name here. It's TechCrunch, TechCrunch, or yourstory.com. These two websites, Your Story is India-based website that talks about entrepreneurship. A lot of startups. It has got a great startup community. And similarly, TechCrunch is a US-based company that talks about various US startups, the kind of money, the fund they are collecting, what they do, right? So all these information, sitting at your college, sitting at your home, you will still be able to know what is happening in the startup community by just reading these two blogs, right? How do you come up with better ideas? So this first stage is all about ideas, right? Sometimes we don't even get an idea, but you see, for example, if you take my story, I never knew what I was going to do, right? But when I was studying when I got into a school for a school admission in my 6th standard, the school headmaster asked me, what do you want to do in your life? For a 6th standard student, that is actually a very heavy question, right? I never thought about it, just like any other 6th grade student would. But I always wanted to be a business owner. At that point of time, I didn't even know the word entrepreneur. I said, I want to be a business owner. Then the next question, she asked me was, what kind of business? I didn't know what kind of business, honestly. But somewhere deep down, something has inspired, something has impacted me to become an entrepreneur at that very young age itself. But I didn't know what, I didn't know how. But somewhere deep inside me, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Similarly, some of you might want to become an entrepreneur for no reason. That is also fine. You may not have an idea, right? So how do you come up with ideas? So the easiest way is, I have seen a lot of great speakers saying shamelessly copy. What I mean by copy is not just copying somebody who is doing something great in India. You see what good businesses are present in US, that has to be localized to India. So if you take Uber and Ola, before Uber came to India, Ola has come, and Ola has seen Uber's model and they have customized to Indian audience and they have started the product. If you take Swiggy, that's also not an original product. There was something called DoorDash in US, which is a huge hit in US. DoorDash was started in 2013 and Swiggy was started in 2014. So basically, you get inspired by the ideas in the overseas market, in global arena. See how you can replicate that idea, how you can customize that to the Indian market and launch that product. You can think about like that. So I think with this, I will stop. The second point is about, so what I'll do is, since we are running out of time, I will just quickly give a one-liner of each of these important stages. Validating your idea. When I say validating your idea, let's say you come up with the idea. The next thing that you have to do is you have to work out on things like who is going to be the customer. Why is that? Nobody has done it before, right? If nobody has done that before, then probably you have to check whether it is worth doing it, because there are a lot of smart people, right? So why would somebody miss a good opportunity? So you have to think in that angle also. and you have to see whether the market is big enough. What kind of competition is present in the market? In fact, there are a lot of tools also to validate whether your idea is good idea. When I say tools, there are tools like Google Trends, there are tools like Google Keyword Research Tool. There are plenty of tools. So you can use these tools to check whether your idea is good enough, whether your idea has your startup has better chances of succeeding or not. You will be able to, you should be validating all these things before even you get into your actual startup. Then comes all the basics like, coming up with the business name. Brand name is very important. And what is your mission? What is that you want to accomplish, right? Coming up with your logo, booking a website, launching your website, launching an app if it involves app-based activity, then creating all social profiles and social media websites and everything. And then you can do a MVP, right? What is a MVP? You don't launch the full product, but you launch only all the core features, whatever is really required for the product, for you to test whether the product will work out or not. You just launch with that is called minimum viable product. Minimum what is required for the customer to use and give you feedback. That is what you have to focus on, and that is what you have to create. And then you launch the product, and then you do some marketing and acquire customers, get the feedback from the customers, and eventually you improve on the product. But for doing all these things, you need money, right? So how are you going to manage the money? So if you take my startups, basically I have not raised fund from external investors. So I have only put my money because I believed in I don't like to have others influence my business. So I prefer to keep it as a private limited company where I call the shots. So it's my money. So whether I lose money or I make money, it is my complete responsibility. On the other hand, if you take bigger companies, if you take Zomato, Swiggy, if you take Ola, Uber, whatever, any big company, Byju's, there are hundreds and hundreds of companies these days. So most of these companies, they raise funds from investors. So why would investors come in? So I'm an investor too. A lot of my friends, I'm some of my friends are very active in a community called Chennai Angels. So some of the wealthiest persons in Tamil Nadu, they are part of this community where they look for some interesting ideas and they invest the money in that particular company. As an investor, the investor's objective is to get a higher rate of return. So let's say I invest in real estate or I invest in stock market, the returns that I get would be, let's say if it is X, then I would be expecting 2X, basically a higher return for the investment that I make through the startup investment. But the risk is very high. Let's say I make investment in 100 companies. Most of the companies actually, like I said, fail. 90% fail. So only 10% of companies actually survive. And out of that, only 1 or 2 companies really make it big. But the good thing is these 2 companies that are really making it very big, they will give a higher return than my original investment on all of these 100 companies put together. Let's say I'm investing 1 crore rupees in 100 companies, right? 90 lakhs invested in all these 90 companies are gone. I'm investing 1 lakh in each of these 100 companies. So overall, I'm investing 1 crore. But the 2 companies in which I have invested 1 lakh and 1 lakh, that return probably would be coming back to me as maybe 2 crore, 1 crore each. So I still make profit. That is the reason. That is what investors are looking for. Okay. So this is the overview of the different stages about how you arrive at idea, why you shouldn't get into startups just for sake of doing it. Yeah. So if you have any questions, let me know. Before that, I will share you this also, though I'm not sure if you can see this. So basically in my Instagram profile, so this is my profile. So I want to know how many of you have listened and how many of you has learned something. So you go to this link. I'll share the link. I'm just trying to. Okay, in the chat, I have shared the link. So if you want to participate in this game, you can just click on this link. So I have posted this particular thing. So this thing, I have posted that I'm going to speak in your college today, right? So on this particular post, I want you to comment saying whatever is your takeaway from this session. It could be 5 points or it could be 10 points. It could be just 1 point. It is all fine. Whatever you have learned, but I don't want you to copy. I don't want you to copy from your friends. And if you copy from your friends, then there is no point in having this competition. I will not be whoever is originally posting something here. I will be selecting 10 persons and I will be giving a 100 rupee gift coupon to all of you. So if you are selected, I will respond to you in the comment by replying, saying that you are selected, or I would just say that I will ask you to DM your mobile number so that I can send you the gift coupon. Okay, so this is the deal. So we can start this game. So I hope all of you can see my Insta link here. By the way, you can also follow me. I talk on entrepreneurship. I post a lot of, lately I'm trying to be active in Instagram. I post on a lot of career related stuff, nothing, on typical Instagram entertainment. So if you're looking for any entertainment, I will not be doing that. I'm sorry. I'll be speaking only on career, education, entrepreneurship, digital marketing, technology. So if you are interested, if you want to know more on these, you can follow me and you can comment also. So while you start commenting, over to the organizers. So if you have any questions, you can ask. I'll answer those questions.
Students, if you have any doubt, you can post your questions in the chat box now.
So I'm assuming that a lot of you don't like money. Okay, interesting question. Because I'm not seeing any comment, so that's okay. But there is one interesting question: how late is too late to start startups? So I mean, there are cases where people have started their startups as late as 60 years old. So I'm sure most of you have tried out KFC chicken. The founder, Colonel Sander, he has started his company KFC after his 60s, and how big KFC is. I mean, they are present in almost all the countries in the world, right? So it is never too late, but those are some of the selected examples, right? There are a lot of people. So when you grow old, your health conditions, the appetite for the risk, the level of risk that you can take, all these things, comes down. So it is better to start early, but not too early. I wouldn't recommend to start, right after your college. But while in college, you can still try out something, because the risk of losing is very little. It will only be learnings. You will learn about plenty of things. Typically an entrepreneur, unless you have a huge money with you, typically a startup founder and the founding team will pretty much do everything in the company. You will handle accounts, you will handle sales, you will handle marketing, you will also be working on the product development. If required, you will also sweep the office. You have to be prepared for everything. So I hope that answers. So it is never too late, but the earlier it is always better, especially if you are in your 20s. You can, you can try out again and again. And if nothing works out, you can always get into a job. Okay. So second question is, somebody has asked, may I know about your company? So basically, my first company, I have started a company called Infinix, which is a digital marketing agency. So we work with plenty of companies in promoting their business in social media to bring their website in top results in Google. So these are the activities that we do with my first company, Infinix, which is a 30-member team based out of Velachery in Chennai. My second company is called Fita Academy, which is into education. Education is something that I'm very passionate about. I used to teach digital marketing. Now, because of my time constraints, I'm not able to teach frequently. At Fita Academy, we teach more than 120 courses on digital marketing, on artificial intelligence, machine learning, programming like Python, cloud computing. So you name anything on technology, we teach that on that at Fita Academy. I have also made investments in a college which is into aviation training. It's based out of Madurai. It's an MBA college as well. I have made an investment in that college. I also have made an investment in few health and wellness related companies as well. So yeah, so this is pretty much about the companies I run. Whether you are capable or not, everybody is capable. So if you ask me, I would always consider myself as a average intelligent person. I never consider myself as a very smart person. But one thing I always had in me is it is the drive to learn more, right? If you have that kind of an attitude, nothing can stop you. No matter how many times you fail, you will always learn from your failures. You will put that learnings into your next initiative, next startup, and definitely will succeed. So whether, this question, whether you are capable of running a startup or not, I think everybody is capable. But it is not for people who are not bold. I mean, if you are ready to take risk, if you have that kind of an attitude, then you can do it. How do I stay on top of? So being an entrepreneur, there are plenty of forums that helps you to get connected with other entrepreneurs, see what is happening. There are a lot of websites where you can read and learn. So for example, I am part of certain communities like Rotary. Even though the primary intention is to serve people, there are a lot of business owners in Rotary. So when you connect with people in Rotary, they talk about their business, but the primary intention with respect to Rotary is service. But there are other business forums, like there is a business forum like BNI. There is something called Young Indians, CII. There is something called Ascent Foundation. So there are plenty of such communities. You need not be present in everything. That would waste all your time. But whatever aligns with your thought process, you can experiment and you can be part of those communities, and that would help you to stay ahead in terms of what is happening in the industry. So any other questions? So thanks for the questions, friends. So there are like 4 or 5 questions, all very interesting questions. I think we are running late. So I think with this, we will finish the session. Let me see if there are any comments. Okay, no takeaways. So I'm saving the, I don't see any comments. So maybe another 15 minutes I'll give till 7:15. If you want to come and participate, it's fine. Otherwise, also it's totally fine. Just, it's okay.
Sir, the
Thank you.
session
Thank
is
you for
really wonderful,
listening
sir, and
patiently.
very informative. students are able to understand what is entrepreneurship and what is startup, and how they are able to bring out the ideas in them. So it's a very wonderful session. So thank you for cooperating with us and readily for accepting our invitation, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
My pleasure.
Formally, we will close the session, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Srinidhi,
Yes, ma'am.
you can go for the vote of thanks, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening to all present here. I am here to deliver the vote of thanks. All is well that ends well. The event, Lean Startup and Minimum Viable Product or Business Boot Camp, organized by the institution's Innovation Council and Department of Science and Humanities, has come successfully to the end. So many hands were behind this event to have ended successfully. Hence, we need to thank them all. My sincere thanks to the RMK management for facilitating the events to take place. Next, we thank Dr. Venkatesh Pannirchelvan, founder and CEO, Digital Infinix and FETA Academy, for being the resource person and delivering a scintillating presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Next, we thank the HOD, SMH, and the coordinators for arranging the event in a grand manner. Finally, I extend sincere thanks to all the faculty members and the students for attending the event enthusiastically. Thank you, one and all.
So thank you, sir. Thank you so